Tell me about yourself.
Yeah, my name's Sebastian McCausland. I'm from Chicago, Illinois. I transferred to Western last year. I transferred from Marquette University in Milwaukee, and that's where I started learning about supply chain management and as a major and why I've decided to move forward with it. I've been doing supply chain related stuff ever since I was about 14, where I would work with my dad, and he transports kitchens from Italy into Niles, Illinois. It's a suburb outside of Chicago where he has his shop. And so because of that, I was always speaking with manufacturers in Italy and talking about how to get the product overseas, usually in boats. And then I've just done a lot of transportation type jobs as well, from Jimmy John's to FedEx, Nolan Transportation Group, just bouncing around and taking as much information as possible. Both of my parents are immigrants, which is one of the reasons we have contacts in Italy. My dad's from Colombia, and then my mom's from the Netherlands. So that just means a lot of traveling as well. Um,
Why should I hire you?
yeah, I believe I'm the best candidate for this position because of some of the reasons that I just said, along with the fact that ever since I was 14, I've been doing this type of work. So it's not something that I just stumbled upon. It's something that I've been working on and excelling in for about 7 years now. Um, right now at FedEx, I'm currently working my way up to becoming a manager. I just applied for a part time position. And when I was working at Jimmy John's, I was working as the head delivery driver, which led to me supervising and doing a lot of work with the people working underneath me who are delivery drivers. I have a huge passion for supply chain. It's something I've just been doing all the time. As soon as I found out that it was an actual major, I decided that that was what I wanted to move forward with, and it's just something that I love and something that I've been doing really great with.
What two or three accomplishments have you given you the greatest satisfaction?
Yeah, I'd say some two or three accomplishments that really I take pride in is something at FedEx, and those three accomplishments would be first of all would be the fact that I'm one of a select group of people that have worked each shift consecutively at the minimum for 3 months. During our outbound shift, which is about 5 p.m. to 9 p.m., I used to tug. During OTP, that's our midnight to about 3 a.m., I would unload or tug. And then during inbound, that's about 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., I would tug or load trucks. And because of the fact that I've tugged on every shift, I'm also one of the select few persons that has done that, and that requires a specific license and specific training. Even when I worked in Niles, Illinois, I was tugging as well. And that goes on to my second point that I have a huge diverse portfolio because I've worked in both Kalamazoo and Niles, Illinois in a warehouse type setting. So I've been able to see how Kalamazoo's warehouse differs from the one in Illinois, which gives me more knowledge about transportation within the warehouse. And then the third reason would be because of the relationships that I've built with my fellow employees and managers, such as my main manager, the district manager. Me and him talk all the time. I have his personal phone number, which is actually not really allowed at FedEx because you're not supposed to bring your phone in. But he gave me his personal phone number because he wants me to just move along in the ranks in FedEx, which is why I applied for that manager's position. Um, and because of these relationships, I feel really comfortable working at FedEx and like taking on a manager's role.
Describe a time when you had to teach someone how to do something. What strategies did you use? How well did they work?
Yeah, when I worked at Nolan Transportation Group as an intern over this past summer, I came a little early, about a week early before the other interns, and that allowed everybody to kind of focus on me, which was a little stressful at first because you had about 20 brokers that were telling me what to do because they didn't have anybody else to focus on. But it ended up being extremely resourceful and useful to me because the next week when the other interns showed up, I had to show them how to operate day-to-day activities, which was huge to me considering I'd only learned it a week before. But they entrusted me with that. As within the first week, I'd already made around 3,000 from selling loads to trucks, and I had been making connections with persons that spoke in Spanish because I was the only person in the office that spoke Spanish. And so when it came down to telling somebody what to do, I had about two interns that were sitting on each side of me, and we would make calls as we would have a broker, for example, tell me that he needs a load from El Paso to Houston, and when I would post it out, I'd have people calling me and asking about that load. And so I would show the other interns on how to properly negotiate, and I actually wrote out a script. Which allowed me to really show them the best way to sell these trucks.
Describe a time when you had to work with someone you didn't like. How did you handle the situation? How do you feel about what you did?
Yeah, so when I worked at Jimmy John's, as I said in the first question, I was actually promoted to head driver within my first 3 months, and I was moved to the busiest location in Chicago, which meant that we're running about like 1,000 orders within the 4 hours that I was running it. And what this meant is that I had to tell people and assign deliveries to them, and that created a lot of anger and resentment towards me because, obviously I have to do it by order and by group. And so when someone got a bit less money that day, they would blame it on me. And this created tension with one specific person. And he came up to me one day after work and he told me that he wanted me to start putting him on to bigger orders. And that was when I kind of did my first manager's talk down, where I had to tell him that if he wanted better orders, that he would have to do more in the store for me to actually give him real work. And so I told him to do things such as stock the chips, redo the ice, come in on time, and start to really work. And over the week, he just progressively got better and better, and that led to him taking better deliveries and our relationship flourishing.